It's October, spooky season, and that means time to talk about some scary movies.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
This year, I am doing a trick-or-treat grab bag of a few films to casually compare and contrast. The Invisible Man from 2020, 2014's The Babadook, and the 2023 horror comedy Renfield. Why these three? Well, mostly because I watched them all recently. But I had a few observations and noticed a few common threads. So here we go.
And here we go.
We'll start with what I would judge to be the best of the three films, The Invisible Man, starring Elizabeth Moss. And before we take a close look at that movie, we need to rewind the clock. A lot. In fact, we need to go back 30 years to February 24th, 1993, to the debut of an episode in the first season of Batman the Animated Series called See No Evil. In this episode, a criminal, Lloyd Ventrix, acquires a sophisticated fabric, which when worn can render him invisible, allowing him to maintain a covert fatherly relationship with a young girl, his estranged daughter, Kimmy. The cloaking technology is toxic and may be poisoning Lloyd's mind, but this being Batman, it's possible this flaw was fixed by the future time period in the series Batman Beyond, where the next generation of Batman is able to use this kind of cloaking technology. Why do I spend precious time bringing all of this up? Well, in a very strange coincidence, that little girl from Batman, she's voiced by none other than Elizabeth Moss, the star of The Invisible Man. And that's bananas. So, a grown-up now, of course, Elizabeth Moss plays Cecilia Cass, a woman trapped in a toxic relationship with her husband. The opening of the film shows her going through steps to escape the man. Her actions are very carefully planned, and the film is able to show both the terror she faces from her spouse and the control she must be under to require such deliberate action. The efficiency with which the film communicates the scenario is really impressive. Long, still camera shots work really well to utilize empty space, based on the premise, any of which the villain could be occupying. Tension escalates consistently with minimal expository interruption, and the cast works very well off of each other as well. This is all brought home by Elizabeth Moss in a powerhouse performance of vulnerability, paranoia, and defiance. Another film about toxic relationships came out more recently, 2023's Renfield. As opposed to the subtlety of The Invisible Man, this horror comedy is over the top. Look, I wanted to like this movie. Nick Cage is Dracula, and he is easily the best part. Nicholas Hoult does a fine job displaying his proper English manners in the titular role of Renfield, even if it's a bit of a retread of a similar role he performed in Warm Bodies. Like I said, this film is not subtle. It beats you over the head with its message at all times. Sure, it's a horror comedy as opposed to a thriller, so a different beast.
Listen to them. Children of the night. What music they make.
Whereas The Invisible Man showed, without the need to tell, Renfield has characters literally punching you in the face while announcing their feelings. They sit in weird Alcoholics Anonymous meetings for survivors of abusive relationships. Is that a thing? Well, in any case, the group is open, emotional, soft, and unthreatening. basically not masculine at all, and very much in the realm of California therapy culture that I imagine is well known to the actors and writers. It embodies the softness of all of those recent Pixar characters ever since Inside Out, androgynous balls of goop. It could be okay, but even the villains are cut from this silly, unintimidating, and kind of embarrassing cloth. That works for a show like Barry, but didn't really work in this movie. Well, awkward transition, but I need to talk about Awkwafina. Look, they cast her as the romantic female lead. They basically tried to do that in Shang-Chi as well, but they have this weird, they're besties. It's totally maybe romantic, but not actually, in that movie. In Renfield, the protagonist outright states his romantic interest, but he never, ever shows it. There is no physical romance. It's really weird and abstract, hey buddy romance. I really don't want to be mean, so let me preface. I think Awkwafina can be kind of funny. Not my favorite, but her role in Jumanji: The Next Level really worked for her. And say what you will about that voice,
Remember the swamp? Remember my song in the swamp when I was like, wah, 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 wah.
but it's striking and memorable. And I don't want to be cruel about someone's appearance, but here's the thing. I think they wanted to cast Awkwafina, a diverse female character with some comedic acting chops, a unique vibe, but I think Hollywood execs, casting, the director, deep down, I suspect they were thinking, nobody wants to see her kiss Nicholas Hoult. Nobody wanted to see her kiss Shang-Chi. She's not a romantic lead. Casting her as one while tap dancing around physical intimacy seems almost cruel. Instead, they have her announce her feelings about her father, her sister, her fellow officers.
The f up, Kyle!
Elizabeth Moss, with all of her vulnerability, is a very feminine character in The Invisible Man. Awkwafina, they make into a super cop, relegated to goofy meter maid status because, I don't know, patriarchy and corruption. So, speaking of controlling men, the last film has a pale character lurking in the shadows as it casts a growing influence. The Babadook. This was a really interesting film, and similar to how The Invisible Man is really about being under someone's domineering control, The Babadook is about the grief and the darkness in one's past, creating resentment and manifesting itself as a continual haunting presence. The film follows a single mother, Amelia, doing her best to raise a very frustrating, difficult son, Sam. Sam's birth was met with tragedy, as Amelia's husband died in a traffic accident on the way to take her to give birth, meaning each birthday is also a reminder of this loss. Added on to this, Sam is prone to strong emotional reactions and acts with explosive energy. After reading a mysterious, ominous book on a strange character, the Babadook, the house in which they live shows increasingly clear signs of it being haunted. And the book, though destroyed, thrown away, burned, keeps returning. Amelia is isolated and controlled by her situation. And just like in The Invisible Man, her situation is too strange for anyone she attempts to explain it to, creating a feedback loop of isolation. The Babadook eventually possesses the mother and asks her to bring her son. This is her deep, dark desire to end the torment of her situation. Her possession is consequential. She kills their pet dog and almost strangles the son. But Sam is able to awaken her motherly instincts. She expels the possession and is able to confront it. The spirit flees to the basement. While the Babadook will never go away, grief never completely leaves you. It is contained and locked away, and you can feed it worms, symbolizing a reconciliation with the reality of mortality. All three of these films are about unhealthy relationships and overcoming the control that they may have on us. Horror films, especially at their best, are always about more than a simple monster chasing after you. As I mentioned in one of my earlier videos, they are manifestations of abstract ideas that haunt us. And while those ideas may be scary, film is a great medium for us to confront them and grow as people. Happy Halloween, everybody.